morning, Vikings. Hello, everyone, and welcome into our lazy, unscripted, super chill pregame morning show ahead of the Minnesota Vikings Week 14 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. Thursday night football prime time, where the Vikings have not done very well in the Mike Zimmer era. I believe that they are 3-6 all time on Thursday night football since 2012, with a 1-2 record in the Kirk Cousins era. Go figure. So we're shooting for 500 and something else once again today. So admittedly, there is not a lot of morning left by the time that you're probably watching this. I hit record a little bit after 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this cold, chilly morning here in the middle of Browns-Steelers territory. I'll get to that in a minute, but I look very purple today. I just realized I got the purple hats, purple hoodie. This is brand new, by the way. Very cool. So that's different. Probably should have opted for the black draft hat, but it is what it is. I've already hit record and I'm not starting over. So lots to talk about. First, let's get this out of the way, the news of the day, that it looks like Dalvin Cook is probably going to play tonight. And if you follow me on Twitter, @SkullOhio, same way it's spelled here, you already know that I'm not a fan of this idea. I think that this is desperation by a coaching staff that realizes that their seats are getting incredibly hot, and they're pulling out all the punches that they can possibly think of to secure a win tonight and sort of stave off those coaching change rumors or those, apocalyptic firing rumors, So a win here kind of buys them more time, even though I think this coaching staff being changed is inevitable at this point. It's really hard to come back from that loss against the Lions. So I think the Dalvin Cook situation today, of course, medical staff has final say. He could suffer a setback in pregame warmups. It's not guaranteed that he's going to play, but the fact that they're really trying to make this happen screams desperation, in my opinion. And I don't think he should be doing it because he's 11 days away from a torn labrum and a separated shoulder. And it just, the risk of re-injury and re-injuring himself more severely is too great. And it's just not with that kind of contract for the running back position. I don't think that this is necessary. Alexander Mattison is good enough. Kenny Nwangu can be featured more in the offense, even though he had that poor run last week where he should have cut inside and didn't. He went to the outside for I think a net gain of like 1. So it was no surprise he didn't get more carries last week. But he's a rookie. He's got to learn. So that's the Dalvin Cook situation as of this morning. Adam Thielen was ruled out yesterday. I don't know what the status is of the offensive line going in tonight, but it better not be Oli Udoh at left tackle. I don't care. It better be Rashad Hill, and then do whatever you want with the interior, because TJ Watt is going to have a feast today if it's Oli Udoh at the left tackle position. I mean, he's probably going to feast if it's Rashad Hill. Who are we kidding? But at the same time, I understand Rashad Hill's not a big improvement, but at least it's better than Oli Udoh. I mean, let's set the bar a little bit higher, if you will. So as far as the game today goes, this feels like it could be the day of reckoning for this coaching staff, as we have previously mentioned. This game is going to be weird tonight. It's going to be weird because the Steelers are a strange football team, and they've been strange for most of my life. And I speak on this with some authority because I have lived in the middle of a dual market between Cleveland and Pittsburgh for going on 36 years now, and it's basically the heart of the rivalry, if you will. It's one of those unique places where you get to experience both teams at the same time, and it's gotten better and more interesting since the Browns have regained relevance over the last couple of seasons with Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. But the Pittsburgh Steelers do this weird thing where they just have weird box scores, right? I mean, they're 6-5-1. Both teams have been unable to beat the Lions in their most recent matchup, so go figure about that. We have a team that tied the Lions versus a team that lost to the Lions, featured on primetime football tonight. That is just a bizarre way for things to happen. But the Steelers usually do this thing where they score a weird amount of points and they manage to win a game. It'll be like 15-17, 19-16, just these oddball scores that are all everything ends in a crooked number. And I expect more of that tonight. I expect this to be a close game because how could you not, having watched the Vikings games all season, where every game except for 1 or 2 was a 1-score game. I think the Seahawks game was 30-17, and then I don't know if there was a second one. There might have been, but I can't recall. But this will absolutely be a 1-score game because that's just the way that the Steelers play football, and that is the way that the Vikings play football this year. So expect it. Just don't be surprised when it happens. It's going to come down to who gets the ball last at the end of the game and who can execute in the second half. And as we've seen with the Vikings, they seem to fall asleep at the wheel in the beginning, so I anticipate more of that outside of maybe the first scripted drive. But, this is a Steelers team that may not be at its best, but it is still very good and very dangerous and, night and day compared to the roster that we just faced in Detroit on Sunday this previous week. So the Vikings have their work cut out for them, and it's going to depend on how motivated this coaching staff gets these players and how well the defense responds now that they're getting some pieces back. Well, they anticipate, I think, Michael Pierce, Dalvin Tomlinson, Eric Kendricks to all return today. I think maybe Patrick Peterson is included in that list. I don't recall the final injury report, but there's only a couple players that are officially listed as out, and I believe that Christian Darrisaw was one of them, Anthony Barr is one of them, and Cam Bynum is still sidelined with his injury, which is unfortunate because I'd rather see him play over Xavier Woods at this point. Ultimately, this game tonight represents the day of reckoning, potentially. If they lose tonight, I think it's over. I think it's already over anyway, regardless of the outcome of these last 5 games. Because after the Steelers game, things get incredibly difficult because they have to go to Green Bay, they have to go to LA to play the Rams, and they have to go to Chicago where they don't do very well. And it looks like Justin Fields looks like he is going to take over again as the starter for the Bears. So we will likely see Justin Fields when we go to Chicago later this year. So it sounds like it's not that bad, but given what the Vikings have done this year, their product on the field dictates that I can't give them the benefit of the doubt going forward, because one-score games are basically a coin flip. And with the Vikings, they have shown an inconsistency to close out games because during the first half or early second half, they absolutely refuse to put their boot on the throat of their opponents and put them away with a 2 or 3 score lead. There is no lead that is safe with Minnesota Vikings that is 14 points or less. At any point that they get to a 15 or more point lead, I will start to feel comfortable. But since that doesn't seem to happen too often, we cannot rest easy, and our anxiety will be at an all-time high tonight. So let's continue to have this conversation in the comments below. Post anything that you would like to say, ask a question. I'll try to respond to everything while we wait for the kickoff tonight. And I might do a video today about the defense because I got a comment yesterday on the Kirk Cousins video about talking about not having a defense this year. And interestingly enough, the fact that we have had one-score games throughout the season, except for 1 or 2, and I think just 1, kind of eliminates that we don't have a defense talking point, if you will. If you're using that as a defense of Kirk Cousins, not being at fault for the losses, saying we don't have a defense, it's always their fault. Well, we kind of do have a defense because we're always in one-score games, and we knew going into the season, more so after the first 4 weeks than we did at week 1, that this defense wasn't going to be any good, and that the retooling experiment in the offseason with the free agents have failed. So we kind of do have a defense because we're still in these games. We're not getting blown out. And because, as somebody astutely pointed out, a Kirk Cousins defender kind of ruined their own argument by saying there have been no stats accumulated by Kirk Cousins this year in garbage time. And that is true. The Vikings have not experienced garbage time this year because everything's been a one-score game. So the fact that there has been no garbage time and we haven't been getting blown out of games means that we kind of do have a defense. So I kind of wasted all of those thoughts for this video, but it is what it is, which is at the top of my head. So, but anyway, maybe I won't do that defensive video now. I kind of got my talking points out there. So 2 for 1 today. All right. So let me know what you think in the comments below about today's game, the future of this team. Are you even checked in for today? That's a good question for those of you that actually live in Minnesota or even going to the game, because I feel like tonight we're going to see a lot of terrible towels. We're going to see a lot of black and gold. I think the Steelers, a team that is popular all over the country and that does travel really, really, really well, is going to invade us like the Cowboys did a few weeks ago. So it might not be that much of a home field advantage tonight. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you for the post-game video later tonight. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.